Alright, so there was only two really bad matches on this show tonight, and one of them technically didn't happen, so it can't have been that bad, right? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your first Monday Night Raw review of 2016. Want to send a quick shout out to Salvador Salcido, sorry, I knew I was going to pronounce that wrong. My buddy that does the graphics for this channel. You'll see the new Raw graphic, and as we go through this week, you're going to see the new graphics that he's done for this channel for me for this year. Always good. I'm going to have his information down in the box below so that any of you who have any graphic needs, wants, and desires can go talk to him. I have zero ability to make graphics. Go back to my initial videos on this channel where it's basically like some picture I found with some typing on it and whatever. So thank you, Sal, for that. We started off, before we get into how this show started, let's talk about the pre-show. I know somebody out there, my camera's doing a thing. Hold on a second. There we go. So on the pre-show, for those of you that watch the pre-show, I know it's not cool to watch the pre-show, but Scott, whatever the fuck his name is, and David Otunga and Corey Graves are apparently now joined by Hall of Famer Booker T on the pre-show, and I didn't see all of it, but it does add a little extra something, which is cool. What we found out on the pre-show is what we already knew. Roman Reigns versus Sheamus with Vince McMahon as the referee is our main event tonight, but we're going to see Charlotte versus Becky in a non-title match, and we're going to see, wait for it, get excited people, Ryback versus The Big Show. Oh yes. Start the show proper. We hear Stephanie McMahon's music. She's coming down the ring. She's not even halfway to the ring when she's cut off by Roman Reigns' music. So they kind of eyeball each other and they both get in the ring at the same time. It's almost like they're making a tag team entrance, except they're angry at each other. It's weird. Loud Roman chants, and immediately, right on the hard camera side, I see a sign that says, "I should be at work." That just makes me laugh. Roman ignores Stephanie, calls out Vince. Stephanie lets him know that Vince isn't here yet, but be sure that he will be there for the main event later on. Roman and Steph sort of, they don't really say anything. They bicker back and forth about the main event. They bicker back and forth about, you know, Roman and being the champion and not liking the McMahons and Roddy Raw. But Roman Reigns gets yes chance, which means, to me, in my own head, and it makes me smile, Daniel Bryan fans can go fuck themselves. Steph mocks the crowd. They mock the crowd for having hope. Now, I don't know whether that's meant to be literally in this show. They have hope that Roman Reigns is going to retain his title, or that they are chanting yes and that they hope Daniel Bryan is coming back. Also makes me smile a lot. Pulls out the typical heel boss stuff. I'm the boss, you're the help, I'm the rich princess, you're the gardener type thing. Roman Reigns, and she goes back to what her dad says last week about, you know, how I used to have your ancestors. Go back to the Samoan heritage a lot because it's easy with somebody like Roman Reigns. That's an easy dig, isn't it? But talk about the wild Samoans and how we paid your dad pennies on the dollar and Roddy Raw. Roman Reigns, and you know Roman Reigns isn't good on the mic, but I do like that he said, you know, you really need to stop worrying about my dad, start worrying about your dad, because this week if he fucks with me, you're not going to be picking him up from the police station, you're going to be picking him up from the hospital. I thought that was nice. Before we go to commercial break, and this is what I didn't like it at first, but then I kind of saw where they were going. They replay Neville with his like lightning fast fluke victory over Kevin Owens last week, which really just makes Kevin Owens look shit, doesn't it? I don't like it at all. Here's the deal, and I have to preface this like I always do. I have no problem with Neville. Neville's a fantastic in-ring guy, but right now, the way WWE is using him, we don't really care about him. So for him to be beating somebody like Kevin Owens, who we do care about, makes Kevin Owens look shit. And I'm sorry, on some level, the little guy beating the big guy makes the big guy look like a putz. I'm just saying. But they extended that video package out to when Owens and Ambrose brawled and put each other through stairs and tables and all that sort of thing. So it's all good. After the video package plays, and still before we go to commercial break, we see Dean Ambrose come out because he's going to be doing commentary for the next match. He's coming out as Roman Reigns is going to the back, and they have a little fist bump and a little laugh at the McMahon's expense, which I like. Here's the deal. These guys are, you know, we're playing up the story that these guys are, you know, brothers in arms and all that sort. They're pursuing their individual goals, but there's still very much a team atmosphere between Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and the Usos. Now, they don't have to play that up really with the Usos because we know the Usos and Roman Reigns are related. The fact that they just have little nods like this, you know, it's not like Roman Reigns left after the segment and Dean Ambrose came out to do his thing as if they were two. So no, they're you know, what's the metaphor? You know, two ships passing in the night. Yeah, there's my brother Roman. You know, little fist bump, and they showed that before they went to commercial break, which was nice. Neville versus Owens with Dean Ambrose on commentary was the first match. Neville comes out with two things that I like. He's got his Slammy, which shows that the Slammy Awards, even though that we all know they're useless, in the WWE storybook universe, that the Slammy Award actually means something to him. He's still carrying it around. And he's got his ribs all taped up from the beating he took from Kevin Owens last week before Ambrose made the save. Now, this is cool for two things. It's selling from last week, which is great. And it sets up the psychology really easy for this match, which is, you know, work the midsection, which I like a lot. Double drop kick outside of the ring by Neville to start the match. Somersault inside out. Dive by Neville to the outside. Rolling senton off the steps by Neville. An in-ring drop kick by Neville. A shooting star press to the outside onto Owens by Neville. All of that is the opening segment of this match. Now, what I just said about Neville not mattering very much, I immediately took that back when he had this first offensive flirt, because Neville looked fucking amazing in this match. I mean, we all know why he's there. He's there to be a cog in the wheel for the Ambrose Owens story, but it shows you that later on down the line he has the potential to carry a feud with somebody like a Kevin Owens, which is good. Owens starts working the midsection, which is the simple psychology that I talked about a second ago. Suspension oh fuck me. Suspension, like Randy Orton style, suspension DDT, except he perches him on the top turnbuckle and brings him down. Not only brings him down on his head, but Neville sells it with a full cartwheel sell off the DDT. Makes it look fucking killer. Neville eats rail on the outside of the ring as we go to our first commercial break. We come back to see Owens waiting for Neville to get counted out, because he's outside, he's beaten, he's selling the ribs, which is good. He gets back in the ring. They grapple a little bit more. Owens tosses him out again. Owens follows Neville outside, tosses him all over the guardrail outside of the ring. Neville takes Owens head Neville takes Owens head first into the post. Baseball slide drop kick off the apron from Neville while Owens is sort of staggered. 450 splash off the apron. Now, a 450 splash is impressive. A 450 splash to the outside is even more impressive because you've got more space to do it. But more space to do it also means you have more time to rotate. If you're coming off of a shorter distance, like the apron, like Neville did here, I find it more impressive because you're making your full rotation in a lot less time. Really, really nice spot. Both men trade elbows and kicks. Owens crotches Neville on the top rope, hooks him up in the Tree of Woe, hits the what does JBL call it? It calls it the Autovance bowling ball, which is just great. You're big, your body is a weapon. Throw it at somebody. It's not impressive, but it's one of the coolest things, in my opinion, that Kevin Owens does. It's very simple. It's almost idiot simple. I have a big body. My body is a weapon. I'm going to throw it at somebody. It makes me smile a lot. Picks him up for the pop-up powerbomb, and he does the pop-up powerbomb extra viciously, because not only is he, getting his revenge on Neville for the fluke win last week, but he also knows that the guy that's holding his title is sitting over there on commentary. Sorry, Dean Ambrose throughout this whole match has been great on commentary. By the way, if I don't mention how bad the commentary is, it's not that bad. It's just that simple. Post-match beatdown on Neville. Ambrose skims across the ring from the commentator table, hits suicide dive, and sort of saves Neville from the beatdown. They brawl. Owens eats steps as they come back around the ring towards the commentator side. Ambrose puts him on the commentator's desk and does sort of a... If you remember when Jeff Hardy used to run the rail, Ambrose kind of does that. He runs the rail into a Shawn Michaels style elbow drop onto the table, through Owens through the table. Great way to end the segment. We go to the back. We see JoJo trying to interview Vince McMahon, who's just arrived at the building. Which is bullshit, and we all know it, and everybody's there early in the day for a WWE show. But as a storyline, as a story plot hole, it still does work. I know a lot of people don't like it, but you know why it's there. Vince arrives. He brags about beating the charges last week. He says that's what happens when you can afford a lawyer like mine. Brags about the match tonight. There's some backstage segments later on with Sheamus and Roman Reigns when he goes back there in his role as referee to read them the rules before the match. It's kind of... It's hitting the sarcasm a little on the head, but it's Vince McMahon old school style. I know a lot of people are bitching that they're trying to make Roman Reigns into Stone Cold Steve Austin a little bit with the booking, but you know what? It's booking that worked. So stop the mentality of it's Roman Reigns and we're not supposed to like him and see if it works. I'm not going to say that it will. I'm not going to say that you can do Austin 2.0 with Roman Reigns, because you shouldn't. But if they take some elements, especially if they're re-infusing Vince McMahon into the storyline, there's going to be similarities. You need to get over that. What I can't get over is the match that happened next that I didn't give a shit about. I started writing notes and then I stopped because it was Titus O'Neil versus Stardust, and I don't give a shit. I just don't. That's a thing. What I do care about is Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. Now, before this match, there was a thing in the back, Charlotte confronting Becky, you know, how come you asked me for this match? We had this match a couple weeks ago. As friends, I beat you. Rah. Becky says she didn't ask for the match, but she's excited about it. Let's go out there. In the spirit of competition, Ric Flair sneaks up behind Becky and scares the hell out of her with a big woo, so we know where this is going. Okay. Probably one of the better matches of the night, I'm not gonna lie. Hard collar and elbow tie up to start, snapmare by Charlotte, and two arm drags by Becky. There's a couple times tonight where I just, instead of saying everything that happened, I just put great mat wrestling sequence, because it's all kind of fluid, and if I tried to break it down, what countered into what, sometimes it takes away. So, but believe me, great mat wrestling sequence for a second. Dueling hip tosses and a test of strength. Charlotte hits a shoulder from the apron. Dueling backslides and a pinning reversal sequence. Chops and mounted punches by Charlotte. That's where my pen died, so the writing is extra specially shitty. Reverse neckbreaker and then a neckbreaker from the second rope by Charlotte. Multiple knee drops to the face by Charlotte, a la her dad, as we go to commercial break. We come back from commercial break and Charlotte has Becky Lynch in the cravat with the knee lifts to the face, which is particularly, you know, it's got the feel of the pedigree, where not only are you going to have some impact to your face, you really can't block it because you've got your head all twisted in the awkward position, which is bad enough, which could be a submission on its own. But no, I'm going to knee you in the face because I can. Charlotte throws Becky's head into the mat. Figure 4 headlock by Charlotte, and she starts rotating into that slam that she did in NXT, where she basically got the person by the head and drags them around the ring by the head into multiple slams. It's cool. Cradle suplex by Charlotte. A backpack sleeper by Becky is countered into a backpack stunner by Charlotte. Both ladies trade clotheslines and uppercuts. Big boot by Charlotte and some chops. Irish whip, corner splash, exploder suplex by Becky is great. What I love, and I said this last year and I will say it again, listen to the Taz podcast, because he really breaks down Becky Lynch a lot and the suplexes that she does, and it's a really interesting thing to listen to if you're interested in that kind of thing. Becky Lynch, and you guys know I love Paige, Becky Lynch is quickly becoming my favorite diva. This is a thing, and to watch her in the ring is absolutely... Why are we flashing things at me on the screen while I'm trying to do a video? You know, if it's not a text, if it's not a call, you know, fuck off, I'm doing a video. There's things flashing over here. I'm a big, important guy that's got lots of things going. No, I'm really not, am I? No. Irish whip, corner splash, exploder suplex by Becky. Flair grabs Becky's foot, and Charlotte tries a roll-up. Becky, cheating, you know, anything you can do, I can do better, reverses the roll-up and pins with Charlotte's tights. Becky gets the win. Charlotte attacks her from behind with a boot to the back of the head and a spear as the crowd chants "loser" at Charlotte, and I smile a lot. Oh yeah. All due respect to Charlotte, I just don't think she has very much character development, but these two in the ring put on a great match. I will say, and I am a little bit biased, I hope this happens at the Royal Rumble. I was happy to see that it happened tonight because it happened at the house show that I was at a couple weeks ago, and it was great. And Charlotte needs to drop the title until she gets her own character. Here we go. Big Show versus Ryback, and I don't care. That's what I wrote at the beginning. I decided ahead of time that I wasn't going to write anything for this match. But quickly, and mercifully, the lights go out. The lights come back on. The Wyatts beat down Ryback. And my first immediate thought was my gut sank, and like, okay, they've already redone the rivalry with Undertaker. Are they going to redo the rivalry with Ryback? Because I don't want to see that. I really don't. But they beat the fuck out of Ryback, and then they turn to the Big Show, and then I smile, because then I figure this is just preparation for the Rumble. And they beat down the Big Show, and Bray Wyatt says that we are pestilence, death, war, and something else, whatever the fourth thing is that I can never remember. Freaking, you guys know me in Wyatt promos, but basically he says he's going to dominate the Royal Rumble, which means he's going to do what CM Punk did with the new Nexus, what Wade Barrett did with the original Nexus, what Wade Barrett did again with the Core, and basically he's going to walk in there with an army. Why? Why does this happen? Boom. There we go. He's going to go in there, he's going to win the Rumble, which gets a lot more exciting as we go throughout the night. Alberto Del Rio and Rusev versus the Usos, which makes sense, I guess, because their leader in the League of Nations is going up against the Usos' cousin, Roman Reigns, later on, and there's a whole lot of notes that I took on this match, but guys, I didn't care. There's a lot of notes, and I could go through it, but I don't care. What I will say from this, and it's kind of a little nitpicky thing, like I said with Kevin Owens earlier, Alberto Del Rio should have the spotlight on him because he just escaped a title defense for his United States Championship last week against the hood ornament of the company, John Cena, who incidentally wasn't there tonight, but he is a singles champion. Don't throw him in random tag matches, and him and Rusev as a team are just awkward. He's technical. Rusev's a brawler. It's a mixed match. It's an odd couple tag team. I get it. WWE loves to do those, but don't. Just don't. Put the Usos back in the title picture because all your tag teams are like half fucked up. I mean, Cesaro and Kid are both gone. Sin Cara separated his shoulder in that weird match that happened last week with the New Day. Apparently Darren Young is out with some kind of injury because Titus O'Neil's trying to have a singles career, which is unfortunate. But yeah, you can't afford to have one of your legitimate tag teams doing crap like this. And I'm not saying crap like this to disrespect Rusev or Alberto Del Rio, but they're not a tag team, and Alberto Del Rio has a singles championship, so let him do... I don't know. Sometimes I'm with you guys bitching about the WWE, even though I enjoyed the show. Dolph Ziggler versus Heath Slater. Heath Slater had a match on Raw, but that's not the story here. Dolph Ziggler versus Heath Slater, but Heath Slater comes out with Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, and Adam Rose. I look at this the way I look at The Miz. I look at this the way I look at Daniel Bryan losing in 18 seconds. I look at this like, this could be really fun, and I know that the YWC is going to hate it, so I'm going to have twice as much entertainment out of this. But we have no real explanation. Adam Rose is in his party pooper gear, which is kind of eh. I kind of originally heard that when this faction came together that it also included Damian Sandow, so I guess they decided against that. But collar and elbow tie up and a headlock and an armbar by Ziggler, bow and arrow by Ziggler, and a drop kick and another elbow drop. Left hand and a kitchen sink and a knee lift by Slater. Choke on the ropes by Slater, who rides a headlock for a while. Sick jumping DDT by Ziggler like he does, but he's then distracted by Bo Dallas. Slater goes for a pin. He's distracted by Dallas again. Slater goes for a pin. Distracted by Adam Rose. Goes for a third pin with the tights. Gets the win for Slater. Slater introduced his new faction, the Social Outcasts. And I laugh a whole lot. Just saying. Ambrose, no. Okay. We have an announcement for SmackDown this week. I'm going to try to interview, or to not interview, but to review SmackDown for you guys. Here's what I'm going to do. NXT reviews aren't going anywhere. I'm going to try and review SmackDown as much as I can, because apparently they're revamping it. I mean, if it's all bullshit and they're not revamping it, then it won't last very long, obviously. But you guys know that as well as NXT, I also get SmackDown up here on Wednesdays. I tried to combine that into one review last year, the fights on Wednesday night, which didn't take off very much because I'm pretty sure a lot of you just wanted to hear about NXT. I will be separating these out into two reviews. I will be reviewing NXT on Wednesdays, and although I will be watching SmackDown on Wednesday, I will be putting up a review for SmackDown on Thursday. The other interesting thing is, those of you that have been listening to me for a long time know that I used to promote the hell or suggest the hell out of a show called Aftermath, which was before that called Right After. Sorry, guys. itchy nose because it's winter and that sucks and such and such. I used to promote a show called Aftermath and a podcast called Aftermath, which before that was known as Right After Wrestling, with Arda Ocal, Jimmy Corderas, Renee Paquette, and Mauro Ranallo. Now, Renee Paquette went on to become Renee Young. Jimmy Corderas is still there. Arda Ocal went on to become WWE's Kyle Edwards, and Mauro Ranallo went on to make a name for himself in MMA, or so I've heard, as an announcer there. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because Mauro Ranallo has apparently been hired by the WWE. He's going to be the lead commentator on SmackDown starting this week, which means, number one, the announcing's going to be a lot better, and number two, the mini Michael Cole known as Rich Brennan can go back to NXT. Oh, yes. But yeah, on the debut of NXT, we're going to see Ambrose versus Owens for the IC title, Becky versus Charlotte for the Divas title, which should be a lot of fun. New Day come out and cut a pretty generic promo that, to be honest, I don't really give a shit about. They talk about Mike Tyson trying to ride a hoverboard, which is apparently a thing on social media. They make fun of him for being an old man, and they do an impression of him, and it's bad. And they bitch about not being the tag team of the year, which is, in reality, is true, but as, you know, complainy heels is just kind of cliche. They say they're going to... I don't even know what they were talking about, but they said they were going to give the New Day countdown to something, and they have their clock going down, and they're ticking along with the trombone. It's like 5, 4, 3, and then it turns into the countdown that we all know and love, which was Chris Jericho. He's come 16 years later to once again save the WWE from unicorn-dressed idiots. He knows that the company's in a bad place. He's going to affect the buy rates, and he's going to affect the ticket sales because he's going to the Royal Rumble. And then he does typical Chris Jericho magic and cuts a wicked promo on the New Day, which makes me happy. So this one is going out to my friend Kristen, aka the Black Cat Feline, owning the New Day. Hashtag Jericho invented it. Then New Day had to pull themselves up by their socks because they have a match against Kalisto and the Dudleys. Like I say, a lot of tag teams are riddled with injuries. Primetime players, Titus O'Neil's kind of trying to be a singles guy right now. Sin Cara's injured, so Kalisto's doing what he can with other people and whatever. It's a good match. There's some good stuff. Nothing really worth mentioning. There's a cool spot near the end of the match where Bully Ray literally throws Kalisto onto the New Day on the outside, which is fine and wonderful and dandy. Typical New Day Dudley's stuff. I made a joke at one point because I was kind of... I should love this match because I like the Dudleys. The Lucha Dragons are cool. Kalisto is the slightly more entertaining one of the two, but I'm not by any means happy that Sin Cara is injured. And New Day is one of the most entertaining things on Raw, but for some reason it fell flat to me. I made a joke on Twitter at one point that Kalisto was playing the role of Spike Dudley in a mask tonight, and I was very impressed with myself. Big ending on Devon gets the win for the New Day, which makes sense, I guess. They're the champions. The Dudleys aren't even in the chase, and Kalisto can't chase the titles because his partner's injured. That's cool. WWE Network is now available in Japan. Woo! So you've got whoever the Japanese equivalent of Michael Cole and JBL are in Japan saying, "Oh, WWE Universe, you order WWE Network 999." And I just got flagged. Roman Reigns versus Sheamus, with the referee being Vince McMahon. We start off the match before the match can even technically really get started with another tug-of-war over the belt between Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon. Sheamus takes a cheap shot to start the match, rolling clotheslines by Sheamus in a mud hole stomp. Roman pulls Sheamus off the top, and Sheamus catches his arm on the rope on the way down, so you figure, okay, that might be a story of the match. Sheamus recovers, rolls him over, Vince tries a quick count. Both men trade punches and clotheslines. This is a brawling match. Look at the two guys that are in it, and look at who's the referee. The boss is right there. He likes the big guys, and the big guys typically brawl. 10 clotheslines in the corner by Roman knocks Sheamus out of the ring. Roman eats steps on the outside thanks to Sheamus. Vince looks away while Sheamus uses the steps as a weapon. and my computer dings for reasons. We go to commercial break. Sheamus rides a headlock and hits him with a kitchen sink. Several shots to the back by Sheamus while he's got Roman Reigns tied up in the ropes, which obviously evil referee Vince McMahon does not call for a break. Rolling... This is how you know that I'm tired when I write my notes. I said a Rollins senton. Should be a rolling senton by Sheamus, sleeper by Sheamus, and a backdrop by Roman. Both men trade uppercuts, a jumping clothesline, a hangman, a drive-by, a Samoan drop, all by Roman Reigns. All look pretty damn good. Hangman and a knee lift by Sheamus, and a one-arm powerbomb by Roman, and Vince slow counts. Not only does he slow count, he literally gets up, walks to the corner of the ring, and asks the guy at the side of the ring if he can borrow some eye drops, which is great. Boot by Sheamus, Superman punch by Roman, and another Superman punch to Vince. Spear to Sheamus, and obviously there's no referee out, so we have a little bit of fun. Sheamus tries to roll out, gets hit with another drive-by. He then, Roman Reigns does, I can speak, I swear. Roman Reigns comes around the ring, Superman punch off the steps, and Sheamus is taken out for a good little while. Roman starts manhandling Vince around the ring. Steph comes down to try and stop it. Now, they did botch this thing here a little bit, because Steph's on the ring, and I'm pretty sure what was supposed to happen was Roman threw Vince into his daughter, but he hit a different part of the ropes entirely, so Stephanie, awkwardly oversold, felt falling into the ring and falling out again. While all this is going on, we get Sheamus, who's recovering in the corner, two big brogue kicks, a new ref comes in, 2 count, Superman punch to Sheamus, Superman punch to that ref, a third ref comes down, and Roman Reigns wins the match. Vince McMahon is selling the beating better than Sheamus. He's there, he's constantly adjusting his jaw, he can't talk right away, he's out of it. But what he does announce at the end of the show is what people are going to be talking about tomorrow morning around the water cooler, and that is the following. You know, you think you survived tonight, you know, the next time you're not going to be so lucky. The next time you defend your title is going to be at the Royal Rumble. You always say it's one versus all, so you're going to be defending your WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the 30-man Royal Rumble. Now, this is kind of big, and I say kind of with all the sarcasm I can muster. This is fucking huge. Because it shakes up the structure of the road to WrestleMania, doesn't it? Now, on the one hand, you don't have a #1 contender story coming out of the Royal Rumble. Now, that could be good or bad. That could be, like, they could do some weird tournament thing on Raw that's shady and whatever. Or it could mean that they're shifting the decision of the new #1 contender to Fastlane and trying to give Fastlane some significance. And if that's the case, I'm 100% on board for it. This is something they haven't done since, I think somebody on Twitter said 1992? I could be wrong. Somebody correct me down in the box below. My off the top of my head memory, it does not work like that. But it's not something that happens that often. It's a little change, and it'll only happen this year, and then we'll go back to business as usual next year. It's going to kind of be like when they had the Core and the Nexus and that whole storyline going on, so they expanded the Rumble to 40 guys, and plus it made Alberto Del Rio look a little bit better winning the 40-man Royal Rumble. It's going to be a one-off, which I have no problem with. If they have Roman Reigns come in and defend his title successfully and go on and fight like Triple H at WrestleMania, I'm going to be like, fuck it. If they say, oh, well, you survived all that and tomorrow night on Raw you're going to face Brock Lesnar, and they fuck it up that way, I'm not going to like it. If they have him come in at #1 and go all the way through, I'm not exactly on board with that, because then you really are giving him the Superman push. Have him come in around the middle, destroy everybody, and then weather the rest of the storm is the way that I would do it. I mean, if you have somebody like Daniel Bryan, I'm sure the crowd would love it. But there's a lot of bombshells here. There's a lot of bombshells. Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family are kind of destroying everybody on their way to the Rumble, especially with the added motivation now that it is for the title. Heath Slater is back on TV, which makes me smile, and he's got a little faction there that's going to drive everybody else nuts, and I'm going to smile. We have the rivalry going forward between Charlotte and Becky Lynch. We have the return of Chris Jericho at the Royal Rumble, which also makes me happy. There's a lot of... And I didn't have to watch Big Show versus Ryback, and that's always a win, isn't it? Really, like I say, one match I didn't give a shit about, and I skipped it. The 6-man tag I didn't give a crap about either, but it wasn't bad, it was just missing something. Titus O'Neil versus Stardust, I just stop. Just stop. Just put things in motion now so we can have Goldust Stardust at WrestleMania. That's cool. Why we're doing this with Titus O'Neil, who I honestly don't give a fuck about, I don't know. But that's like 5 minutes of a 3-hour show, so I think I can overlook it, you know. Drink a lot of beer or drink a lot of pop, go take an extra piss, and you'll miss that match. The rest of it's a good show. As far as I'm concerned, this is a really good way to start the year. Really good way to start the road to Royal Rumble. Really good way to start the road to WrestleMania. I really can't complain. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. As I say, thanks again to Sal for all the new graphics for this channel for this year. It's great. I really do encourage you guys to go check out the slideshow from the live show I was at about a week ago. I really do encourage you to go back to the last video I posted, which is my fantasy booking for WrestleMania 32, which is way off of what we're going to get now, considering the announcements that we had tonight. Thank you to all of you that have been following along, that wish me happy birthday in December, who wish me Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that sort of stuff. You guys are great. A lot of stuff coming this year. Really looks like it's going to be a good year. How many other ways can I thank you guys? You guys are great. You guys are wonderful. Why? Yes, I'm rambling. I know. You don't have to. My computer is tired of me rambling, so I'm going to end this video with I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. Talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys. So shine if you're a freak like me. Don't apologize. They can't hold you down. You were born to rise. It's time now to come out. If you're a freak like me.